So it's so inspiring that you transform yourself from the CFO roles or FP&A roles to your own company, which is producing more FP&As.
Working in an audit role at that time, did not even know about FP&A actually.
After I completed my chartered accountancy in first attempt, I felt like a superhero.
And I wanted to come back into FP&A.
Right? I was very clear that I did not want to do audit.
I could not get an investment banking role.
You need to be 45 to become a CFO. I'll say no, I'll do that in 35.
Before even you get to the presentation, storytelling, two things are very important.
I started reserving my Saturdays. 2018 is when I launched my first course.
A lot of people reach out to me on LinkedIn. Dhawal.
This is a very hot topic in these days for every finance professional.
And also understand your stakeholders.
These webinars, write a book.
They assume that they know FP&A.
I was thinking, okay, I am a part of the sales team, I am a part of this marketing team.
Because FP&A is connected with business partnering. Because if you cannot communicate the numbers properly, if you cannot tell the story.
Doing an analysis is not just enough, right? Communicating it in the right way.
Reach out to people who are working in FP&A in your company.
Because we finance professionals are great at saying no, right?
Finance is the only department who has the full helicopter view of the company.
And what are the key skills or areas that the finance leader they need to focus on?
And the second thing, we were doing this on the side, me and Dhawal.
You rely on others that they drive you.
This personal branding and be online and doing these things is not only when you're out of the job.
So,
right?
How technology is changing the FP&A? Their current system is not designed to integrate with AI.
It feels so good when people come back to you saying, "Oh, I read your post. That was so."
Network has so much power, and we have to utilize this power for our interest. So thank you so much, Dhawal and Asif. It was a really exciting event, and I think people are going to get lot of insights from you about FP&A. And I'm following both of you since years actually. So it's so inspiring that you transform yourself from the CFO roles or FP&A roles to your own company, which is producing more FP&As. So this is the beauty of leadership. So thank you so much for joining this session, and I'm very excited since we have a call last time that we can do some kind of session and people are joining. They want to learn from you. So since then, I think we have more than 100 people. They already registered in this session because of that excitement. And Asif and Dhawal are more of. And both of you have, I think, 170,000 plus following on LinkedIn. It's amazing. I don't know how did you build this following. We will discuss your journey as well, and how you are going to transform your life and others' life. We'll go into this journey. So starting from my side, I think you are the best person who can introduce yourself. A little introduction from Asif and Dhawal. So people already know, there is no introduction needed, but they want to see your journey. How did you start, and how did you reach to this level where you are today? So a brief journey from Asif, starting from Asif.
Sure. So as most of us usually do, right? So I completed my primary accounting qualification, which is a chartered accountancy qualification in India. That was back in 2011-12. So about 13 years back, I completed my chartered accountancy. And I was working in an audit role at that time as an intern with EY, one of the big four organizations. And although I liked doing audit for the first couple of years, but then I started feeling I should do something else, especially early on in my career, explore more fields. And during that time, which was 2010-11, at that time, this 2008 crisis was past. I mean, we had already seen, I think 4 years after that, 3.5, 4 years after that. And the investment banking and the equity research roles were peaking at that time. So people were again going back into investment banking and valuation roles. So I thought, okay, at that time I was very interested in those roles, and I prepared very hard to get into those roles. So I took an investment banking course after completing my CA. I did a 6-month certification in investment banking. But even after giving more than, I think, 8 or 9 interviews during that 6-month period, I could not get an investment banking role because it was very tough. They were looking for very specific set of experiences, a very specific set of educational qualifications, which I did not have. So that did not work out. And that time, FP&A, I did not even know about FP&A actually. I did not even know the term FP&A. And I just gave this interview with Citibank in the FP&A role, and that interview worked out, and that's how I got into the FP&A role. So at the time when it was my first day in FP&A, I did not even know many things, or I did not even know if it was an FP&A role. I was more thinking of it as a management accounting come reporting role, and FP&A was very new to me even when I got into FP&A after clearing the interview. So that was the first initial years. Then I worked with that Citibank for about 5 years, so from 2013 to 2012 to maybe 2019. And I started as an FP&A analyst, and when I left City, I was FP&A manager, so I got like 2 or 3 promotions during those 5 years. And after that, I took a break. I did something very unusual. I took a break. I went into a traditional CA practice for 1 year because I always wanted to explore that as an option, especially after completing chartered accountancy in India. That is something people usually do, or people usually want to at least try. And I did that for 1 year, and within 1 year, I realized I did not like that, and I wanted to come back into FP&A. So in 2019, I took a break and I went into GST practice, which was very new at that time, and I was learning a lot about GST because it was just implemented, I think, in 2017-18, and I really liked that subject, so I took a break. But after 1 year, I realized it's not something I can do for my life, and I came back I wanted to come back into FP&A. So after that 1 year of a break from FP&A, it was very difficult for me to come back because I had that 1 year break, and also at that time this was COVID beginning, so it was February, I think, 2020, when COVID had just started. So again, I was in a very similar situation that I did not have a job, and I was looking to get back into an FP&A role. Again, I gave like 8 to 10 interviews during that January, February, March 2020 period. And again, I did not get any permanent FP&A role because people had started freezing hiring at that time. People not taking, although I cleared like 5 of the 8, 10 interviews I gave, but at the last stage, they had withheld the offer letter because of the hiring freeze due to COVID. I think this was March, April 2020. At that time, I got a contract, which was a temporary contract with a consulting firm, which was the client name was Pfizer. So luckily, I got that. Otherwise, I would have probably been unemployed during that COVID phase. So I took that 6-month contract with a consulting firm, and the client was Pfizer. And this was before the Pfizer had developed its vaccine. So Pfizer was also doing a hiring freeze, but they were hiring contractors or consultants as a temporary staff. So I took that 6-month contract, and then after the 6 months, there was an opportunity for it to convert into a full-time role, but I did not take that. Eventually I moved into the edtech industry, which is what we are doing right now as a business as well. So I'm very glad that I did that. That gave me a lot of exposure to education and technology and edtech industry. So I moved out from the pharma to edtech industry after working there for about 9 to 10 months, and worked with a couple of edtech industries. So I was a senior manager FP&A consultant at Pfizer, and uh, I moved as a senior manager to one of the Indian edtech companies, and then to Coursera, which was the most recent role as a APAC and FP&A lead. So yeah, that has been my corporate journey in the last 10 years. So 5 years with Citi, then a break of 1 year, then one short consulting assignment with Pfizer, then 3 years in edtech with Great Learning and Coursera.
Great. I think setbacks create a lot of opportunity for you.
Yeah.
If people are not getting setback in their life or any job loss, they don't go to the self awareness. They go with the smooth life because salary is coming every month, and they are happy life in the very good comfort zone, 9 to 5 job. They are taking vacations, family time, everything. But the moment you get some kind of job loss, then people don't realize that this is the right opportunity. for the self-awareness. What you can offer something, what you can do anything other than the job. So people don't take it positive actually. I have faced same issue in my life, and I lost my job, and then after that time I reinvented myself with a
Yeah.
different person. So job loss doesn't mean that you have to find another job. Maybe you have to reinvent yourself.
Yes. Absolutely.
So this is the beauty of mindset actually. So it can transform your life suddenly, and you cannot imagine what you were and what you are now.
Yeah. In fact, the question that you asked in the beginning was on the LinkedIn following. After I realized that I was not able to crack those interviews, that is the time I started writing on LinkedIn. This was again 2021 when I was giving all those. I mean, while I was trying to get into a permanent role from a contract role. So at that time, I thought, okay, let me make my personal brand on LinkedIn so strong that I
Yeah,
don't have to depend on interviews and people should come to me for jobs and openings. So that is the time, rightly you said that whenever you face any setbacks, it makes you think and go back, reinvent yourself, and take
yeah.
some steps that you don't face that same situation again.
Because you are having 144,000 followers. You cannot fit these people into one ground where football match is going on. It's huge. It's very very fast. You did this much. I have seen the whole journey you have. Yeah, moving to Dhawal. Dhawal, you were working as a CFO. Very good life. Very
Yeah.
comfortable life. Very happy life. So what happened? Why did you leave everything and then started different journey? What is the problem with you?
Yeah, I mean, CFO happy life. That's a great point. But let me tell you, all CFO roles come with a crown of thorns, right? So it has its own set of challenges. But yeah, to how I started my journey was that I was extremely clear about doing chartered accountancy. So once I completed my chartered accountancy, I did a lot of audit clients during my chartered accountancy, and after I completed my chartered accountancy in first attempt, I felt like a superhero. That I'm there. I have now arrived in the market. You know, and it was only when I joined the job I realized that I don't know so many things, right? So that's how it started. I started with a company called Bharat Petroleum, which is an oil and gas company. Uh, Somebody said, "Can you take up pricing for industrial fuels?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, who has seen pricing before?" So I started with that, and I never said no to any work, right? But one thing that I was always clear is that I had extreme clarity about what not to be done, right? I was very clear that I did not want to do audit or tax. That was not for me. So I had always kind of chosen this classic path for me where I wanted to start in the finance function and eventually make that humble attempt to grow up to the ranks of becoming a CFO. Which fortunately, with God's grace, I was able to achieve that. I became CFO at the age of 33, and but I was consistently on that game, and I used to consistently challenge myself that when I became a finance manager, I was immediately looking for, okay, how can I get next, senior finance manager role or a controller role. When I became a controller, then I immediately started looking at, okay, what are the skills for a CFO? How can we get to a CFO role, right? So I always consistently challenged myself, and one thing is that if somebody told me that you need to be 45 to become a CFO, I'll say no. I'll do that in 35, right? So I used to always challenge myself to see how I can expedite my journey. And touchwood, I got some great mentors and seniors in my working environment who encouraged me, who always supported me. Um, in 2018 is when I kind of became super active on LinkedIn, right? And I used to just counsel my friends. My friends used to come back and ask me questions as to how were you able to learn this, or how did you manage to get a controller role and this and that. So it just started as counseling some friends, and then I realized that probably I have the skill set of coaching and career counseling. I started reserving my Saturdays. Every Saturday, 2 to 3 hours, I used to just reserve and then talk to young finance professionals, chartered accountants who were stuck in their careers. I must have done like thousands of calls, And so much so that my wife used to complain that at least give salary to me, right? So
All
that's how
wives
it
are
started.
complaining.
And after doing thousands and thousands of calls on Saturdays, reserving time for people, guiding people, I started writing on LinkedIn. Whatever I wrote on LinkedIn came through those questions. Somebody asked me a question about, let's say, working in a shared service environment. I wrote a LinkedIn post about it. So I just started repurposing those calls into LinkedIn posts, and that helped me grow my LinkedIn following. 2018 is when I launched my first course on Udemy. It's called FP&A Foundations. And then I kind of formally trained myself to become a trainer. I may have done like thousands of hours of Zoom training right now. So that's how it started. And I was always entrepreneurial in nature. And finally, 2024 happened. This full time. Now, Asif and I have co-founded FP&A Professionals Institute, and we are into this full time now. Helping finance professionals truly get to their next level. So that has been my little journey so far.
Excellent, excellent. You took CFO role in very early age, and that was the achievement people normally don't get it in the rest of your life. Sometime 40, sometime 50, sometime never. So that is a great achievement that you did your dream job and then you leave it. So you took everything early. So you don't have
True,
for a
true.
good dream now. So one question I'm receiving from both of you, and recently it's very hot question in these days. Is people are stuck their career in the accounting part, and accounting is going to automate, so they are planning to switch themselves from accounting to FP&A. Right? This is a very hot topic in these days from every finance perspective. And the problem is companies are not focusing on FP&A right now. They are focusing on accounting part because there is a lot of transaction. So they need resources to book all these transactions. So how will you advise the people that they gradually transform themselves from accounting to FP&A, or any certification they need to go for, or CA chartered accountant is enough for them? How do you see yourself that how people transform their journey from accounting to FP&A business partner? Anyone
Sure.
can start.
Yeah, may I can start and then Asif can add on to that. See, traditionally, all the qualifications out there, whether it is a CA, ACC, or any of these qualifications, right? So they have been largely focused towards accounting and compliance, right? Well, they covered some part of analysis, but today, because of the data being generated, because of the complexities in the business, um, you know, basic analysis is not good enough. You need to get deeper into analysis and also understand your stakeholders. It could be sales staff, it could be HR, it could be any other staff in the company, and then work backwards towards providing the right set of insights to these business teams. Now, that is where FP&A team comes into play. Now, the question about how do you transition to FP&A roles? See, even in an accounting role or a tax role, you may have done a lot of different kind of analysis. Use that analysis as a backbone. Highlight that upfront in your resume when you are applying for FP&A roles. That's number one. Number two is that get certifications or get coaching around FP&A related topics like budgeting, forecasting, management reporting, data storytelling, and presentations. These are some of the core activities that are carried out by FP&A teams. So many times, people having accounting qualifications like a ACCA, CMA, they assume that they know FP&A, but that's not the case, right? So you will have to learn these things from scratch. Nobody, when Asif and I started our FP&A careers, right, we did not know about budgeting, we did not know about forecasting, right? How we started our career was that if our senior was in a good mood, he would explain to us what is budgeting. Otherwise, we would figure out on our own, make our own share of mistakes, and then learn from it. But today, we are fortunate. We have an entire world out there, which is LinkedIn, online courses, coaches, career coaches. Take benefit of that, and so that you can definitely be a step ahead in terms of learning FP&A, whether it is through coaching programs or certifications. That would be my advice for transitioning to FP&A roles. Asif, feel free to add something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so can you add something?
yes. So I think Dhawal covered it well. But what I can add, so what we usually do at FPI is we interview our uh, successful candidates who have transitioned from accounting audit roles into FP&A. So we usually do that, and there's one interview or one episode coming up tomorrow as well. What we have observed from those patterns that people who move from accounting to FP&A, and we've observed more than I think 50 people now who have made this transition. is that they are proactively taking some steps, and some of the steps Dhawal talked about, like doing a certification. Other things that what we have seen people do is, if they are working in an accounting or a controller department in their organization, they will make an attempt to talk to the FP&A team in their company. They will try to reach out to them and speak to them and understand what they are doing. They will try to understand if there are any projects that they could work on together. Is there any way they could help the FP&A team being in the controller team? And usually there are many projects in the company where you can work together, and that is another thing that you can do. Reach out to people who are working in FP&A in your company. Try to build that relationship. Try to understand what they are doing, and by doing this, just this thing, this will maybe put you ahead whenever there is an opening in your organization for FP&A. Maybe they will probably be able to tell, okay, which people are more proactive, which people are most interested in this profile, and that way a lot of people have made the transition. So I think taking some effort on your side, be it doing a certification or being actively reaching out to people in your organization. A lot of people reach out to me on LinkedIn, Dhawal on LinkedIn, to understand what should we do, how do we make the transition, what actually does the FP&A people do. So understanding that itself is going to give you an edge in your interviews and preparation for the role. So yes, I think taking that
I think
extra step, extra initiative is the most important thing.
I think one of the important thing which I realize in different companies and accountants, they don't discuss what they are looking for with their managers. They are
Mhm.
just thinking that we have the job description, and if I will ask more responsibility, I will get more work, and maybe they will not raise the salary. So this is a fear maybe we have. So we have to leave the comfort zone and discuss with the right stakeholders in your company, whether they are managers or above anybody or FP&A team, that I'm interested in FP&A. If you have a chance to take me in this role, I'm available for relocating my roles. That is the courage you should have. But only FP&A will not be enough, I think. FP&A certification. What other skills? Because FP&A is
Yeah.
connected with business partnering. Because if you cannot communicate the numbers properly, if you cannot tell the story, if people don't have the trust management, because people doesn't have the trust with the accountants at that level. In
Yeah.
being an FP&A professionals, the sensitive part is your soft skills, which is your presentation, your communication, your trust management, your relationship. So how they can build this kind of skills if they have the certification?
True. So, one statistic which came forward, Nadeem, when we did a survey, CFO survey, right? 79% of the CFOs said that it is generally difficult for them to find the right FP&A talent. Which was a shocking statistic that came out of the survey that we had. Another statistic that came out of this survey is that 57% of the CFOs said that FP&A professionals or finance professionals who are coming now are not great with communicating financial numbers or data to the business partners or to the business stakeholders. So this again emphasizes on the fact that you mentioned, where doing an analysis is not just enough, right? Communicating it in the right way, in the sense that you understand the requirements of the business, and then you go back and provide the right kind of solutions. Like I can share one example here. For example, in our company, when I was working with an advertising agency, we used to routinely analyze timesheets of people, right? The general managers or the office heads were required to analyze timesheets. Now, nobody had the patience to go through the 10,000, 20,000 lines of timesheet lines, right? So, what we did was, in our team, we came up with a very simple dashboard, and this dashboard had some color codings, like if it is red, then they need to get into the details. If there is amber, there is green, then they can live with it. They don't need to get into the details of it. And this simple table, what we used to do is we used to put in the body of the email and then send it to the general manager. So that saved a lot of time for the general manager and helped him focus only on the problem areas. Now, this is just one example of business partnering. You can do tens of thousands of different analysis with a 20,000 line item Excel sheet, right? You can do pivot tables, you can give fancy charts. But end of the day, if the stakeholder is not using it, then there's no point of that analysis. So that is where one needs to understand that, okay, what are the stakeholders looking for? What are the business teams looking for? And then you reverse engineer the data, reverse engineer the analysis, and then provide solutions to the business teams. That's what makes a true business partner.
I think I remember I was when I was starting my career and I was in a meeting and tried to note the the points in the discuss in the meeting, and I wrote down all these points where what is the expectation of the stakeholders, because sometimes we don't present everything in the meeting, but there are some requirements comes during the meeting, and when you trigger these kind of requirements through your reporting, I think that can connect you with the people.
Very true, very true. And people need to get actionable insights. So when they go out of
Yeah,
the meeting, they just don't want to see fancy numbers on the screen or some tables on the screen. But they need actionable insights as to what needs to be done. Okay, there is client profitability is low on some clients. What needs to be done? How you can optimize resources on these. That's what solutions are, what people are looking for. If you are able to develop yourself as somebody who can talk in terms of solutions, you have a great edge as a finance business partner, because we finance professionals are great at saying no, right? This is not in the budget, this is not in the rule book, this is not in the accounting standards, right? We are great at saying no, but what we need to learn is start talking in terms of options, right? Yes, there is a problem, we can solve it by solution option A, option B, option C, and then let the business partner choose it, and then we explain the consequences of choosing that option. If one starts talking in terms of solutions, that will make true business partner.
yeah, very, very true. I want to bring Asif here. Asif, finance is the only department who has the full helicopter view of the company. No other
Yeah.
department has that kind of luxury. The only thing is missing in finance professionals how to tell the story, how to communicate the number. Because if you know budgeting, if you know forecasting, if you know financial modeling, even then you cannot become a successful FP&A without these skills, which is presentation skills,
Yeah.
storytelling. So how people, is there any advice from your side if they can, I'm sorry, they can do something from their side?
Yeah. So in terms of so building this business partnering and relationships with your senior management and business teams. So before even you get to the presentation storytelling, uh, two things are very important. See, what first, the first and the most important thing is you should be able to analyze data and bring out insights that Dhawal already covered. Okay, so that is the first most important thing. And the second important thing is that the business partner should be trusting you to take that advice. Okay, so you have to work on two things. One is making yourself good at analysis so that you can bring out those insights. And on the other side, you have to also build trust and relationships with your business partner, so that even what happens is, even if your analysis is some of the best, even if you create like good visualizations, and even if you put the right insights, if the business partner is not trusting you as if they don't believe in you as a partner, then they may not take that action, or they may not take that advice. So the first most important thing is to build trust, and the trust only comes when you don't act as a finance person. You ideally, and in I have been in like 4 or 5 FP&A roles until now, and in some roles I was just considered as a finance person, and then people use those were early in my career, and there the business teams did not take me very seriously. The point that the moment they started taking me seriously is when I forgot about my role as a finance person. I was thinking, okay, I am a part of the sales team, I'm a part of this marketing team. Uh, Let me understand what they are trying to achieve, what are their goals, how can I help them? Okay. So I think the best thing that you can do is you can try to become a part of whatever team you are working with, whether it be marketing, whether it be operations, whether it be sales. And ideally you should try to do that so that you can gain the trust, and they should know, okay, this person is not just talking some numbers here and there randomly. This person exactly knows how my day looks like, what I do on a day-to-day basis. So that is on the trust building part. Once you have the trust and once you have the insights, I think then communication is what you mentioned, right, is the third thing. Then you should be able to, in a very simple language, in a very plain English, not using accounting terms, not using fancy language. Uh, if you communicate after building
Yeah,
trust and
don't refer
after,
every time IFRS.
yes, not using IFRS or US GAAP or all those terminologies. After building trust, after being able to share some insight, if you communicate in plain, easy, simple language, uh, then you don't have to worry about the visualization. Then you don't have to worry about what chart should I use or what visualization techniques should I use. Although those are important, skills which we teach. I'm sure you also teach that. So those are important, but those are probably the secondary things that matter. The most important thing is the insights and the trust that you need to build with the teams.
I think the most important part, let them feel that you are part of their team.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
whenever you are sitting in marketing, they should feel you are not an accountant. You are supporting us. You are helping us to get the data from your system and
Yeah.
give us the visibility that how I'm going to land for this year, for example, forecasting, sales numbers,
Yes.
volume, where I'm reaching my targets.
Uh,
Help them that this is the area you have to focus. This is the area you don't need to focus. You are on the right side. So
yeah.
these are the things you have to discuss with them instead of tell them policies and procedures. So this is the trigger, I think.
Absolutely, the best compliment finance person can ever get is from a business team is that they don't believe that you are a finance person. They should feel that you are a part of your team. And I think in some of the roles that I could do, I was very fortunate to be able to do that. And I was invited to all their meetings. I was invited to their picnics also. They did not even know that I was. Some people in their team did not even know that I was a finance person. They felt that okay, this person is a part of marketing team only, and this person is just good with numbers. That is what the perception was, and I think those are the things that you should try whenever you're working with the business teams.
Definitely. We have audience as well. If anybody want to have a questions, we can take the question in between. So you can raise the hand, we can bring you on the stage and you can interact with Asif and Dhawal. So if any question comes in mind, better to come on the stage, open your camera and discuss. So before we jump into the audience, I don't see any raised hand for now. There is one raised SR. Let me take the first here. Yeah, SR is coming on stage. Yeah, Professor is here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you, Professor.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dhawal, Asif, and
Hi,
Nadeem,
good
as
afternoon.
always. And
Welcome.
it's been pleasure to be part of your broadcast, as always. And so it's been very impressive insights, and I love to hear the insights from the Asif and the Dhawal. So truly commendable. So my question is to the Asif and Dhawal. The first question is that both of you, they have a very impressive background and you have enjoyed the corporate life as well. So first thing is that what basically triggered you to shift from the corporate level to the FP&A? Because usually people, they enjoy the corporate life. Definitely at the month of end we will get the paycheck. But when the people, they cross over 50 or 60, this is my experience, that then they start thinking about to shift to the financial freedom. So you guys, mashallah, you are quite young and very energetic, very impressive. So that is the first thing we want to get your insight. Second question is that as given the advancement of the AI, so how do you see that this FP&A, they are evolving in transforming the traditional finance function, and what are the key skills or areas that the finance leader, they need to focus on in leveraging the AI in the enhanced decision making, financial forecasting, just like these things. I would like to have your insight, both of you. Thank you very much.
Sure. So, Dhawal, you want to start or you want me to?
You can start, Asif.
Yeah. So let me take the first question. The first one, which was what triggered the. Let me tell you a little bit of background of what happened during the last 3 years. So maybe that will help you understand what triggered that. So Dhawal was doing training since 2018. So it has been. So it was not an overnight decision for us that okay, one fine day we decided that we want to quit our jobs and get into training. So he was doing this on the weekends for last, I don't know, 5-6 years. And as I mentioned, right, I started writing on LinkedIn in 2020, 2021, just 3 years back. A lot of people also started reaching out to me. A lot of people asked me a lot of questions. So that led to a lot many things. That led to webinars like these. Okay, a lot of people invited us, me and Dhawal, do these type of webinars because they noticed people that we were writing on LinkedIn. So one thing led to other. I don't know, I must have done 50 of those webinars by now, and I had enough material from the LinkedIn post and these webinars to write a book. This is what I wrote back in 2022, all about FP&A, which was my first book. And after this book got published, more people started reaching out, and then I realized that this is something that people really want. This is a gap in the market where people are wanting to learn about FP&A, but there are no enough resources, there are no enough institutions that are at this moment catering to this demand. Okay, and that is also a skill that you develop while you work in FP&A. So because you're working with so many businesses, your acumen as a business person also develops, and luckily I was working with an edtech company which is Coursera, and I'll tell you an interesting story. So this was back in 2022 or 2023, maybe 2 years back, and the Coursera team or the company where I worked with, they had to choose between two certifications to launch those certifications. Okay, so there were two choices. One was the data science certification or a engineering type of certification, and other one was the FP&A certification. So there were choices, three certifications, and we could only allocate money to say the one or two of them. And FP&A always lost in that because there was not enough market for it compared to data science and compared to engineering. So that gave me, that gave me an insight. Okay, although there is not enough demand compared to compared to maybe engineering or data science, but there is enough demand for people to learn. That's why it is coming in the shortlisting, right? So that was one. And the second thing, we were doing this on the side. Me and Dhawal were doing this on the weekends for I think more than a year. So 2022, 2023, we were doing this on the side, and we were working 7 days continuously because Monday to Friday we were working in our corporate lives. Saturday, Sunday we were taking lectures for I think more than 4 hours or 5 hours at one point of time, and never it had happened that we were burned out on a Monday morning. Ideally, when you work for 7 days or maybe 6 days in a stretch for continuously for 3 months or 4 months, you usually feel burned out, right? That never happened with me, and Dhawal can talk his experience. I'm sure he also felt the same way. That's why we decided, okay, if this is something that we enjoy so much doing, that we are happy to sacrifice our weekends for that for a long period of time, like a year and a half, then this is something we really enjoy doing. This is not something as a side project. This is something that we really want to do, and so that is the entire story. That it was not an overnight decision. We have been working on this for more than, I think Dhawal has been working before me, back from 2018, and it just happened that we collaborated in 2022, and then we that collaboration fast tracked our our transition.
So,
You know, discovery of yourself
Yes.
is so important in this process.
true.
Sometimes you don't discover yourself in the age of 60 even. You know, you rely on others that they drive you, and you don't. Sometimes you don't drive yourself in your whole life. People are driving you. Your boss, your managers, your company. You are not taking decision for yourself. Yeah. So Dhaval, what is your on this?
Yeah, two points I think which kind of motivated us to take this full-time jump is that many times, see, as a trainer, as a mentor, right, the utmost satisfaction when you get it, when people come back with a feedback and say that because of you we were able to get some job, because of you we were able to progress in our careers, and those kind of messages, when I used to get up in the morning and I saw that somebody is thanking me on LinkedIn that because of you I got this role, because of you I was able to progress. Those were the biggest motivators for us to kind of continue doing what we were doing. The second thing was that when I was doing this as a side hustle, before even getting into this full time, what I noticed was that I'm able to use my full potential. I am the marketeer, I am the content creator, I am the finance guy, I am the trainer, right? I'm using my full potential. Now, whether that translates into a monetary return or no, time will tell. right? But as of now, we are just happy that I'm able to use the full potential. I am building my own team. I am building my own content. I am building my own marketing. I am doing my own trainings, right? So that satisfaction of using your own full potential, kept us going. So that was the biggest trigger for the transition, I would say, at this point in time. Now, whether it will be richer than a CFO role or no, that time will tell. But hoping for that to be. The second question that you asked, Kaisar, about artificial intelligence, right? If we have to just rewind back 20, 30 years, now when computers came in, people said that one computer can do job for 5 people. Everybody, our parents and all, feared about losing jobs, but nothing of that sort happened, right? When automation came in, right, at that time also people said, now this will become redundant, that will become redundant. I think the same wave is going with AI as well, right? With any new technological development, we are able to unlock some new potential, unlock some new areas, right? Think about it that we don't need to spend hours and hours together on doing VLOOKUPs anymore, thanks to automations, thanks to Power Query, thanks to Power BI, right? So this will only grow, and the quality of the job that all of us will start doing in the future will be much more satisfying, will be much more rewarding, right? And that's what is the positive side of AI. Yes, there are certain risks associated with it. There are certain privacy risks or piracy risks, so to say, or are risks associated with it. But I'm sure eventually the sector will evolve in such a way that it will benefit the larger community in general. That would be my take on that.
Yeah, excellent. So this, the beauty of the line you told me, that when you receive the message from the people that you are doing very good job and we are changing our life and you are our inspiration. I think this is the achievement of your life. If you can change someone's life from your effort, and people are watching you, and I think you are doing a great job in terms of your education or in terms of your trainings or your content is amazing. So that is a great part. So how technology is changing the FP&A? Are they creating more jobs in FP&A or they are reducing jobs? What is happening in terms of technology? Because technology, what I notice, is not sustainable. Because if you adopt something today, after 6 months it will become obsolete.
True.
Then you have to move for reinvestment. So companies are confused that what they are going to do. They stop everything. They are happy to invest in the warehouses and the machinery and business development. But it comes to technology, they are stopping themselves because of not sustainable area. So are they going for which ERP system? Which ERP system helping FP&A? Do you have that kind of insight?
Yeah, what technological development has done today is provided a tremendous amount of choices for CFOs and finance functions. Like today, you name it and you have a tool for that. And there are probably, at this point in time, as we speak, probably there are more than 100 different kind of FP&A tools available out there, right? But the question is which one is the right tool for you. So you will have to evaluate your entire organization structure, as they call it, a simple people process technology framework, right? So you will have to understand your people, your processes, and your technology requirements, and then you can come up with the solution. But in general, FP&A as a field has got a lot of attention in terms of technology. You tools are available out there which can help you some great planning. Integrated planning is possible now. The tool helps you interact with the marketing team, HR team, and all the cross-functional teams in a much more seamless way than what you used to do before. You don't necessarily need to rely on Excel templates. You can use these tools to kind of collect your data, analyze the data, and communicate back to them. So those developments are happening. Having said that, technology adoption at individual level for people has been very low, right? Again, some statistics here. 67% of the CFOs in our survey said that they are not using the tools available to its full potential, which means the tools are available out there, but probably teams are not spending enough time to extend themselves to the right skill sets, right? Everybody knows Power BI can do a great deal. But how many organizations are actually doing objective trainings in Power BI for their staff? I would say very, very few, right? So those adoption has to come from the top. And as and when the CFOs will lead that transformation, will lead the upskilling of their own finance team, right? The organization will get benefited as a whole. So that is something which we are doing. So the technology is available, it's developing every now and then, okay, but probably the adoption is not at the same pace. The adoption has to increase.
One of the challenges which I am seeing with many organizations, even in my company as well, that their current system is not designed to integrate with AI. So the challenge is to transform the existing system first. Okay, so change the setup, change the database, change the way you want to integrate with the AI, because AI has some standard function that should be
Yeah.
integrated from your existing system, and they are able to fail it. They are not able to connect because the data is not in the form or in a way that should connect with the AI. So I
Yeah.
think our current process reinvention is very important part.
Yeah, maybe I can add. So right now, what is happening is AI is fairly new, and there are thousands of different tools that are available, right? So if you want to do, say, for example, one thing, say, if I want to generate an image, there is a separate tool for that. If I want to say write an email automatically, there is a separate tool for that. And then there is one AI, OpenAI, ChatGPT type of models that has many use cases. But the only challenge is that right now is there are so many tools that one is that challenge that there are hundreds and thousands of tools. So which one to pick and which ones are the most reliable and where the data is saved, that is the question. So I think that problem will get solved soon. Once this, I think most of the organizations either use Google or Microsoft as their main platforms. I'm talking about the bigger organizations. So I think people who are using Microsoft, I think those will get integrated with Copilot, and Copilot, I think already they have started implementations. And so what this will do is whether you go with Google, Microsoft, either of one of these bigger service providers, be it Google, I don't remember the name, Gemini, right? Gemini or whatever, Microsoft
Gemini.
Copilot, whichever you choose, they will provide that assurance and they will provide that surety that okay, your data is safe and you could now use this tool, and they will consolidate. So Copilot will let you do all the 20 things that you're using, like 5-7 different tools to do that. So I think that consolidation and uh, data guarantee is what these big companies will they've already started doing, but they'll maybe more implement it on a larger scale.
I was reading a research of PwC that the only thing is remaining to integrate ChatGPT from your system is the trust. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
if this part is solved, you can integrate your system with ChatGPT.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can go to the
It does
next
make
level.
mistakes. It does make mistakes, Nadeem. So I gave it a lot of, I worked out a little bit of experiments. I gave it some expense claims of mine and asked it to prepare an expense claim. It missed out one or two bills. I said, hey, you missed this bill. And then it went back, studied it again, and then it
Yeah,
added the bill and gave me the full list again. So it does make mistakes as well. While the technology is fancy, right? I mean, everybody is liking it, but it still has some ground to cover in that sense.
yeah. We have another guest. I think your name is not as per your name actually. So what's your name by the way? Because
Muhammad
you
Faizan.
Mohammed Faizan. Welcome Faizan for this show.
Yeah, sure. Thank
Uh,
you again, Sayed, with arranging this FP&A strategy, right? I have a question that FP&A lead is closely working with CFOs, right? So, what is the key I can adopt to work like as a CFO itself? So, let's suppose I can leverage my CFO that what you are thinking, I have already thought of. And these are the solution I brought into table for your discussion in detail further. So, what is that key which I should train myself as making me myself an AI machine learning model, right? To think about that, how a CFO will going to think on that specific topic. Thank you.
I let the CFOs answer. So, yeah.
See, I think that's a very interesting question. What I have always done is that in whichever role I took over, right, whether it's as a finance manager or a controller or whatever the case might be, right, I always try to think and act like a CFO or a mini CFO of my own unit, of my own team, of my own business unit, right? That is what will trigger you to ask the right questions, right? And when you are able to ask the right questions to your stakeholders, right, that will help you engineer your insights, engineer your analysis accordingly, which can then be provided to the business teams, right? When I was working with the CFO as a CEO, sorry, when I was working as a CFO, I came across two stark different CEOs, right? One CEO used to blindly trust on whatever I said, right? He used to just rely on me saying that, okay, if you have seen this, then I'm approving this, right? And 13, 13. If you have seen this, then I'm approving it. Then there was one CEO who was completely opposite, who used to never take things at face value whenever I used to tell him anything, right? So he was very detail oriented. He always wanted some detailed data. So for the CEO who was, who was very hands off, I used to give him only high level data, only things that where he can take quick decisions. But for a detail oriented CEO, I used to bombard him with a lot of data, a lot of analysis, saying that do whatever you want, you see whatever you want, and then tell me what decision you want to take, right? So I think what's important is that you understand your stakeholder, right? What questions, what decisions do they take in their daily life, right? Are they taking a pricing decision? Are they taking a margin decision? Are they taking a revenue decision? And if you can give them the right set of insights and make their life easier, that is a finance professional, and it will increase your chances of becoming a top-notch CFO. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, Dhawal's daughter is reminding him that he has an appointment with her in 10 minutes.
Right.
No, I think believe me, time is flying. We almost finished 1 hour,
Yeah.
and it's a big topic. I think we covered a lot, but still many things are to be covered. So I'm sure we can have another session on this. But Dhawal and Asif, I think we have short of time. So if you can give any advice to the new generation or existing people, that how they can take an action to be a great FP&A professional, what is the step they have to follow from both of you?
Yeah, maybe I can start and then Dhawal can add. So if I have to just give
Yeah, sure.
one advice, right, that could probably be the best advice I have ever received and I have practiced it, is that while you are in any role, be it FP&A, be it any other finance role, you should treat it as if it's your own money or own business, right? And you will realize when you do your own business or a side business at some point that all of this is applicable. Now we can relate because we are now running an enterprise ourselves. So all this was probably theory back when people used to tell us, but now we actually see that is true. So whenever you are in any finance role or any FP&A role, and you have been given the responsibility of allocating the budget or making sure that the money is utilized in the best possible way for the organization, always treat that money as your own money. How painful it would be, right, for yourself when your money is not used to the best use, or you're wasting some part of your own resources. That same pain and that same feeling should come, and Dhawal will add to this maybe on the feeling numbers. He has a story or another story. So treat treat that money as your own money, and if you do that, I think the rest of the things will fall in place. That will give you even the edge that other people might not be thinking. Once you start developing that mindset, then automatically questions will start coming to your mind. Okay, this should not happen. Why are we doing this? And why not that? Why this is so slow? Why cannot we improve this? Why this technology is maybe not doing what it should do? And there will be a lot of other things that will come to you automatically if you develop that mindset.
I think this is a very famous line. Find the why, and you will get the how very easily.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
try to find out the why first. Yeah, Dhaval.
Yeah, I think one thing I would, not specifically about FP&A, but as a finance career in general, one thing I would definitely recommend is that, try to give small actionable targets to yourself, right? Many times we know that we have to learn something, we know that we have to upskill ourselves in a certain area, but we keep postponing it till the very end, right? Rather than that, give small actionable targets to yourself. Take a vow that, okay, you will do 15 minutes of study every day, slowly increase that to 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 35 minutes, right? Take those small baby steps, and you will notice that within a year you have come a very very long way, right? Take those small actionable steps. Don't postpone learning technology. Don't postpone learning business partnering. Don't postpone learning FP&As. These are all in topics and will probably be there to support you for the next decade or so. And if you still have 15, 20 years of working life left, then make sure that it's not late at all. Start it right away and take those small steps. And within a year, you will notice that you have come a long, long way. Right? And you will thank me for it later.
And the best day of execution is today.
Very
Tomorrow
true.
never comes. You
As
want
I
to start
said, the second best
start
time to do anything is now, right? I mean, whatever
now.
the time you forgot, I mean, what you did not take any action, that's gone. But today is what you have in your control, where you can act.
I was in the podcast yesterday, and there was a lot of discussion about midlife career challenges. So one of the challenge what I found that the people are not in the right network. They are not sitting in the right people. That's why their mindset doesn't move towards the right direction. So network has a lot of power. For example, if you want to go to gym and you are not going gym, just start sitting few days with the people they are going regular gym. So within 1 month you will become habitual of going gym. And if you are a smoker and you want to leave smoking, just sitting with the people they are not smoking. So your habit will gradually shift to the non-smoking side. So network has so much power, and we have to utilize this power for our interest, what we want. And what I realized that if you want to become something, start meeting with these kind of people, and you will become the average of those people. So that is the trigger that you have to tell yourself every time and transform your life in this way.
Fabulous.
Absolutely.
I think we are done. Any question from the audience? We have, I think, 20 participants here. See, when you ask the question, it's not about question. It's about you start facing camera, you start talking to the people. So there are a lot of things you might learn. So my line is motivating people. Line is coming on the stage.
No, that's really great. I just want to add one more question to the Dhawal. I think so. You have just mentioned, Nadeem, that 20 people are here and somebody they are not able to come into the stage. So this is what I want to ask the insight quickly, that what are the core skills the individual, those who want to pursue their career in FP&A and those who are already professional. These are the key skills they need to develop it. So that helped them in growing it, not only himself but also to grow for the business as well.
Sure. See, I can add apart from your analysis skills, right? Apart from basic analysis skills, I think what is important is that you understand the core terminologies in terms of budgeting, forecasting, how these are operating, right? Business models, revenue model, all of these understanding are definitely important. Coupled with your storytelling and presentation skills, business partnering skills, which are the softer side of things, building cross-functional relationships is super important, right? Because you will routinely be dealing with HR, sales staff, and so many different teams, and it's not necessarily easy to interact with them, right? They go through so much pressure, they go through so much client pressure, so much rejection, right? When I used to go and ask for budget estimates to sales staff, sometimes I used to get very rude answers as well, or sometimes I used to get pushbacks as well. So it again depends on how you are maintaining those relationships with them. FP&A is, I wouldn't say it is political, but it does involve dealing with people. It is not about sitting behind your desk and doing a lot of different kind of analysis. It is about going out there and partnering with the business. So the stronger you are able to maintain those relationships internally within the organization and externally with consultants, whatever, group companies, whatever, those things will definitely come to your rescue, and you will be able to execute the stuff in a much faster and a simpler way.
Good. I think we have Shaheen. I think Shaheen is join us. Shaheen, yes, go ahead.
Thanks, Nadeem. I think I don't have a particular question. I think first of all, thanks for arranging this, Nadeem and Asif and Dhawal. I think wonderful insights. Really loved every minute of it. I just wanted to kind of relate the story that I heard from both of you in the beginning. So I work as a regional CFO for a very large US multinational called Marsh & McLennan. And Dhawal, I think we got recently connected, and we still do a conversation, which I'll speak to you in the coming week. But I think for me, what is kind of becoming a realization recently in the last, I would say, 3 months, is that when you are in a job, in a busy job, that you never give yourself time either on your personal branding, neither on what you're doing in LinkedIn. When I mean, from your work, you would know so much that you can share with people and would help kind of people to shape their thinking or maybe in their careers as well. But you're always bogged down so much with the details and with your day-to-day stuff, you never give it time, right? But honestly, I have only started doing a bit of it in the last 3 months. And I think, Dhawal, you mentioned it feels so good when people come back to you saying, "Oh, I read your post. That was so insightful. Can you tell me a bit more about this?" Right. So I think I just wanted to say a few words in terms of really relate to everything that you guys said. And it just makes so much sense. It doesn't matter which kind of stage of the career you are, but I have now recently started taking the time out, that conscious effort of start to build your brand. I mean, just with an intention to help people and to connect with the people like you today, to be honest. Like Nadeem yourself, I've only started reading your post and looking at things literally in the last few months, right? And I know now know you from LinkedIn. Dhawal, Asif, I've been following you for some time now. So I think I was just telling myself that if you don't give yourself this time, right? In fact, I'll just add something which somebody told me recently, that this personal branding and be online and doing these things is not only when you're out of the job, right? It doesn't. As soon as you're in the job, you just forget about it and you don't look at it for like years and years. And I'm actually a good example of this, that I have only started coming back onto the LinkedIn in the last 3 months, and I think the previous post would be like 4 years ago. Never bothered to even look at it, right? So I think I just want to say a few words that really, I think, really good insights. I love the discussion and can really relate to every word which was said on this discussion.
We so started in young age. The forgot.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
You perfectly said rightly, because it's about you.
Yeah.
If you are working in the organization has their objective. They are not fulfilling your objective. What is your vision? They have their objective, and you should be a CEO of your life. You should have different objectives. So if you have the following company objective, which means you are forgetting yourself very easily. So you have to fulfill your vision, despite the fact you have job, but don't forget why you started and what is your destination. That is the only thing you have to continue. So we have some questions here. I think we are already over time. I think discussion is very, very interesting. I'm also enjoying. So we have few questions. I think Saida is asking one question: is work-life balance maintained while being ambitious in the FP&A industry?
I can take that. I can take that. So when we talk about work-life balance, right? So no company or no role comes with a guarantee, right? Okay, that this is the role where you can definitely find work-life balance. It could be as simple as when I started my career with a government company, and everybody told me government companies are chilled out. You will be able to leave on time. And the most weekends that I've worked is in that company. So no job comes with a guarantee. It will have its own, I would say, busy periods and lean periods. FP&A is no different. It has its own busy periods and lean periods. Busy periods will be all the budgeting, forecasting, and all the reporting deadlines that you have. Lean periods will be where you have either in the mid of the month or when you don't have a budgeting cycle or a forecasting cycle coming up. At that time, you have some lean period where you can upskill yourself, you can focus on certain automations within the company, or take up projects which are not necessarily deadline oriented, right? So that's how it is. But there's no one straightforward answer for a work-life balance question.
Maybe I can add for my perspective. So see, FP&A is not an industry; it's a function. Okay, it's present in each and every industry. So a lot of it will depend on what type of organization you are working. Are you working in a 100-year organization where everything is automated, set up, and you just have to be there to just be driving it? Okay, in that case, you will have a better work-life balance. While if you're working for a newer organization which has been there for last 10 years and still evolving, still growing very fast, then you'll have a slightly, I would say, slightly a busier role compared to the one I mentioned earlier. So it's a function. It's not an industry. So it'll depend on the industry. It'll also depend on the life of the organization or the age of the organization. And I can just compare it to the other functions. Okay, so compared to working in investment banking or working in audits in Big Four, comparatively, what I have found from my experience, again, this is my personal experience, is FP&A has a better work-life balance compared to working in Big Fours and audits and compared to working in investment banks. Okay, just on a scale of comparison and based on my personal experience. So if you have to compare maybe among the three, which are more popular roles in finance, FP&A would be probably having a better work-life balance compared to those two. Is what I've observed.
Good. I have one last question. Let me read the question. It's in the text. Actually, question is how understanding the market and business environment is important for finance business partner.
FBP is your domain, Nadeem. You can take that.
I'm the host now. You are the guest.
I can start on that. See, understanding business environment or market, it's super important for you to understand the industry or the business. And as and when you get senior, probably you will get tied up to a certain industry. Right? You will be seen as an oil and gas industry guy. You will be advertising guy, whatever the case might be. Right? But it's important that you understand the business because you need to interact with various cross-functional teams. You need to understand their language. You need to understand how the company is making money, the business model, the revenue model, what are the challenges the company is solving for its customers. All of those things become super important. One example that I can definitely relate or I can share is that when you're working in a certain industry or a certain sector for a long period of time, you automatically develop that understanding. For example, one of the geographies that my company was working with, we knew that the payments or the customer payments routinely get delayed in that geography. So what we kind of did was that whenever we started quoting proposals in that geography, we started building a slight interest cost in the pricing itself without the customer knowing that. Now, this is your judgment, this is your understanding about your industry, about the market, about an external environment that you can bring to your CFO role or your FP&A role, right? This is just one example of it. So this way, if you are able to understand your environment much better, you will be able to definitely be a better business partner, better finance business partner, somebody who doesn't understand.
I think I can summarize this answer in one line, which I work on this. I have a lot of research on business partnering. Business partnering is the topping on FP&A. Cake. FP&A is a cake where you need certification, technical skills, and that FP&A role become more beautiful if you have a topping of business partnering skills. Then that cake is actually a sellable, because only FP&A is not sellable things, and business partnering is not the only thing you can sell. But what you can sell is the complete cake with the bottom area of the cake and the topping of the cake. So that can give you the right price.
And Nadeem, sorry, just one thing, with your permission. I think on the previous question, actually somebody just told me this recently that on the work-life balance, I think Dhawal and Asif has already covered that. Somebody said that nobody is going to give you the work-life balance. You'll have to take it. Right? I mean, it depends on yourself, how you manage yourself, how you manage your task, how you prioritize it as well. And that would really work for you. I'll just give this quick story that, so when I was back in the UK, I changed, over a period of time, I moved into 3 roles. And there was a time my wife was like, I don't understand, wherever you go, why that place is the most busiest place in the world, right? She's like, it's not about the organization. I think it's about yourself, how you are managing your work-life balance, right? And she was so, now when with hindsight, when I look at it, she was actually right that you have to actually manage yourself. Place is going to be busy, work is going to be busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I think we can wrap up with this answer. And thank you so much, everyone. I just want to take a selfie. If you can open your camera, so it will be a part of my gallery. So we join together. So everybody can see there. I'm just taking one selfie. And I think Asif, if Faizan, you can open the camera. We are the contributor for this session. I think you people made this session very, very, very interesting and amazing. So I'm just taking selfie. Done. Thank you so much. And I think keep doing the good work. Very, very good session. And you will get the recording and everything very soon. And special thanks to Dhawal and Asif to bring time for this session for them.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us, Nadeem. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
It's a really good.
Thanks. Bye.